You drop an ice cube into your glass. It melts. The water spreads. The drink gets colder. And you think you just saw something simple happen. You think you understand cause and effect. You think you watched one thing turn into another thing while you, the observer, stayed exactly the same person who dropped it in. But here's what keeps me up at night. If that ice cube can't go backwards, if entropy won't let time reverse for those water molecules, then why do you think you're exempt? What makes you think the same law that melted that ice isn't melting you right now, and that the person who finishes reading this sentence is not the same person who started it? Let me tell you something. We build our entire lives on the assumption of continuity. You believe you're the same you from yesterday. Same memories, same name, same thread of consciousness running through time like a string holding beads together. We have to believe this. Our legal system believes this. That's why we hold people accountable for crimes they committed years ago, why we honor promises, why we sign contracts. The whole architecture of human society rests on this one assumption. You persist, you endure, you are a thing that travels through time intact. And physics says that's a beautiful story, a necessary fiction, but it's not true. Stay with me. Let's go back to that ice cube, because this is where it starts. When that cube hits the warm water, something irreversible happens. The molecules that were locked in a crystal lattice, vibrating in place, they start moving faster. The hydrogen bonds break, the structure collapses, and the thermal energy spreads out into the surrounding liquid. The drink reaches equilibrium, colder than it was, warmer than the ice was, and you cannot reverse this process. You can't unmelt that cube by waiting. You can't wish those molecules back into their lattice. Time has a direction here, and the direction is toward disorder, toward entropy, toward the spreading out of energy into more and more possible configurations. This is the second law of thermodynamics, and it's not a suggestion. It's the closest thing physics has to an absolute rule. Entropy in a closed system always increases, always. The universe is running downhill toward maximum disorder, and every single process you see around you, every heartbeat, every thought, every melting ice cube, is a small step in that direction. This is why eggs don't unscramble. It's why smoke doesn't gather back into a cigarette. It's why shattered glass doesn't leap off the floor and reassemble itself. The mathematics of probability makes reverse processes so staggeringly unlikely that they effectively never happen. Now here's where it gets personal. You are not separate from this. You are not watching entropy happen to other things while you remain untouched. You are a thermodynamic system. Your body is a collection of molecules burning fuel, radiating heat, increasing the entropy of the universe with every breath. And just like that ice cube, you can't go backwards. The configuration of atoms that made up your body 10 years ago has completely changed. You've replaced nearly every cell. The proteins, the neurons, the minerals in your bones, they've cycled through. The matter is different. The pattern persists for a while, but the substance is new. And it's worse than that. If you want to understand how the universe actually works, not just how it looks, but how it works, hit that subscribe button. Let's find things out together. Because the pattern itself is not stable. Your memories are not files in a hard drive. They're not permanent records etched into some immortal substrate. They're physical states of neural networks, and those networks are constantly rewriting themselves. Every time you remember something, you change the memory. The synaptic connections strengthen or weaken. The proteins fold differently. The memory you recall today is not the memory you formed yesterday. It's a copy of a copy, degraded, modified, reconstructed from fragments. You think you remember your childhood, but what you're actually remembering is the last time you remembered it. And that was a reconstruction of the time before that, all the way down. Do you see what happens? There's no continuous thread. There's no golden string of consciousness running from birth to now. There's just a series of states, each one causing the next, each one slightly different, each one convinced it's the same person as the one before. You are not a thing. You are a process. You are a pattern of energy and information that maintains itself for a while, like a whirlpool in a stream. The water in the whirlpool is always different water. The whirlpool looks like an object, like a thing with boundaries and persistence, but it's just a temporary configuration of flow. And when the conditions change, the whirlpool disappears. It doesn't go anywhere. It just stops being a pattern the water makes. You are the whirlpool, and the stream is time. And the second law of thermodynamics is what keeps the stream flowing in one direction. Let's be honest about what this means. If you are a pattern, not a thing, then the person you were 5 minutes ago is not you. That person is gone, dead, dissolved into thermal noise and metabolic waste. What you call your life is actually a sequence of different people, each one living for a fraction of a second, each one passing its pattern forward to the next like a baton in a relay race that no single runner completes. You never finish the race. You are the race, happening now, in this instant. And then you're replaced by someone almost identical who thinks they're you. This is not a metaphor. This is not philosophy dressed up as physics. This is what the math says. Entropy is the measure of disorder, yes, but it's also the measure of information loss, of uncertainty, of how many possible microstates correspond to a given macrostate. And the number of possible configurations your brain could be in is so cosmically large that the odds of it being in the same state twice approach zero. You are never the same person twice. Not approximately, not practically, literally never. Now I want to take this deeper, because this is the part that makes people uncomfortable. If you don't persist, if there's no continuity of self, then what dies when you die? The pattern dissolves, yes. The process stops. But there was no eternal you to lose in the first place. You've been dying every moment of your life. You've been not existing between every heartbeat. What we call death is just the moment when the pattern stops successfully copying itself forward. The universe doesn't care. Entropy doesn't mourn. The second law just keeps running, redistributing your atoms into dirt and air and the bodies of worms and grass and eventually other people who will also believe they persist, who will also be wrong. And here's the thing that kept Feynman himself awake. If this is true, if you're a pattern and not a substance, then why does it feel like something to be you? Why is there an experience happening? The ice cube doesn't wonder what it's like to melt. The whirlpool doesn't have a point of view, but you do. You have this strange, persistent illusion of being a single observer riding the wave of your own dissolving. That's the hard problem, not how the brain works, but why the brain feels like anything at all. And thermodynamics has nothing to say about that. The equations are silent. They'll tell you how the pattern evolves, but they won't tell you why the pattern experiences itself. So you're sitting here reading this, and you feel like you. You feel continuous. You feel like the same person who started this script. And that feeling is so convincing, so immediate, that you can't believe it's an illusion. But it is. The feeling of continuity is just another output of the pattern, another process your brain runs to make sense of the constant flux of being. It's a user interface, a dashboard, not the thing itself. Let me bring this back to something you can touch. Right now, your body is radiating heat. You're about 98.6 degrees Fahrenheit, and the room around you is cooler, so energy is flowing out of you in all directions as infrared light. You can't see it, but it's happening. You are glowing. And every photon that leaves your skin carries away a tiny piece of the order that makes you you. You are literally dissolving into the environment at the speed of light, and new order is being built inside you from the food you eat and the air you breathe. And the second law guarantees that the total disorder is always increasing. You are an eddy of temporary order in a universe flowing toward chaos. And when the order can't maintain itself anymore, when the copying process fails, you don't vanish. You were never really there. The pattern just stops. But here's what Feynman understood that most people miss. This is not depressing. This is not nihilism. This is freedom. If you're not a fixed thing, if you're a process, then you're not trapped. You're not burdened by some essential self that you have to protect and defend and maintain across time. You're new right now. The person reading this sentence is being born as they read it. You don't have to carry the weight of who you were yesterday. That person is gone. You inherited their memories, sure, but you're not them. You can choose differently. You can think differently. The pattern can change direction because the pattern is all there is, and patterns are flexible. And more than that, the fact that you exist at all, even as a temporary swirl of order in an expanding sea of chaos, is an astonishing thing. The second law says entropy increases. It does not say order is impossible. It says order is expensive. It says you have to pay for it with disorder somewhere else, and you do. Every thought you think increases the entropy of the universe. Every heartbeat, every breath. You are burning the cosmos to stay coherent for one more second, and the cosmos allows it. Not forever, but for now. For this brief, shining, impossible moment, the universe has arranged itself into a pattern that can ask questions about its own existence. That's you. That's what you are. The ice cube melts. The drink gets cold. And somewhere in that process, the universe wakes up and notices. Not permanently, not eternally, just for an instant. And then the instant passes, and a new instant begins, and the pattern continues. Different now, changed, but still burning, still asking, still here. You don't exist. Not the way you think. But something is happening where you are. Something that wouldn't happen if the pattern weren't running. And that something is reading these words right now, dissolving and reforming, melting and freezing, alive in the only way anything can be alive, temporarily, improbably, beautifully. Entropy doesn't take anything from you. You were always entropy's child. The universe unwinding itself into infinite configurations, and you're one of them. A good one, an interesting one, a configuration that looks back at the cosmos and asks why. And the answer is written in every melting ice cube you'll ever see. Because order is possible, just not forever. Because patterns can emerge from chaos, just not permanently. Because you can exist, just not continuously. And that's enough. It has to be. It's all there ever was. If this twisted your brain a little bit, good. That means it's working. I'll see you in the next one.